So this is part 2 of how I became a psychic and how I worked through my own inner conflicts around being psychic, doing psychic work. So see part 1 for the origin story. But I was speaking about how I learned so much about how energy works, what dark energy is, what dark energy really is, how to see through my own shadow projections, how to see archetypal energy, understand archetypal energy. And around late 2019, early 2020, I started to take that remote work that I had been learning, that I had learned, and instead of doing it, the remote work, the way that I learned it was done with a partner, where one person would go into trance and be the surrogate for the person that needed healing, the client, and there would be a facilitator who would basically be a note keeper, so that you'd have the person doing the surrogate work who was accessing the information psychically. You'd have the facilitator who was asking questions basically and taking notes on what was discovered. And then, of course, the third person is the client, the person that the work is being done for. So I started to, because I was so used to doing remote work, I was so good at it, I just practiced a lot. I started to act as both a surrogate and a facilitator simultaneously, because I could snap in and out of a hypnotic trance or psychic state very quickly and easily. And so I began to practice doing remote work for people without using the help of anyone else, without a facilitator. And I would just ask my own questions and get the answers and practice seeing different things and working through, asking for different resources to help the person, etc. And I practiced that for a period of time and just observed and see what, kinds of results happened in the world. And it was very helpful work. It did give me a lot of insight into how people think and feel, and I got a lot of positive real-world feedback. And then in 2020, I was feeling sort of lost, as we all were, I think, during the pandemic. And I wanted to do something fun and different. So I launched a session. I did a couple of things with energy. The first thing I did is I started doing intuitive readings for people, intuitive readings / healing sessions, where I would do this remote work that I had learned. And I would also throw in tarot cards, oracle cards, crystals, Reiki, medium work, and anything else that came up. The other thing I did during COVID was I started teaching energy school. So I started working with small groups of individuals and teaching them how to see and work with energy / these images, these visual images and feelings that we can experience. And was teaching people how to feel energy physically with their hands. And that was really, really cool. And there was a high demand for that. But then I started to run into my first roadblock. I started to have some issues with how people were talking about energy in the energy world, in the spiritual communities at large. And I'm going to go into that in part 3.